It all started on an ordinary day. I was walking down the street when I heard shouting.
"Stop, thief!"
From someone yelled. I turned to see a girl being dragged back by a shopkeeper. She looked terrified and helpless.
"No, please, I'm not a thief."
She cried. I didn't know why, but I couldn't just walk away. Without thinking much, I stepped in. "Wait! I'll pay for her," I said quickly, handing over money to the man. The shopkeeper let her go, still grumbling. She turned to me with wide eyes, confused and maybe a little angry.
"Why did you do that?
She asked.
Why waste your money on me?"
I shrugged. "I'm not wasting money. Let's just say I'm renting your time."
"What does that mean?"
She asked, still suspicious. "You'll find out," I replied with a smirk. "Come with me." I took her to my house. She was quiet on the way, probably wondering what was going on. Honestly, I didn't know why I had brought her along either. Maybe I just didn't want to go home alone. When we arrived, my father was waiting for me. My father is a businessman, strict and obsessed with appearances. He had always pressured me to marry someone worthy so that I could take over the family empire. "This is my bride," I announced boldly. The girl gasped and looked at me like I was insane.
"What are you talking about?"
She whispered angrily. "Just play along," I whispered back. My father studied her carefully.
Beautiful, smart, and from a respectable family?
He asked. I hesitated, then nodded. "Of course,"
Perfect.
my father said, smiling for the first time in years.
You've done well, son.
After my father left, she turned to me, furious.
"Bride, are you out of your mind? Why did you lie?"
She demanded. "I needed you to pretend to be my fiancé," I admitted. "It's complicated." She crossed her arms.
"You can't just drag someone into your crazy plans."
"Look, I'll pay you for your time," I said, trying to sound calm. "You just need to act like my fiancé until my father hands over the business, then you can go." She stared at me for a long moment.
"Fine.
She said at last.
But I'm not doing this because I like you. I'm doing this because I have no other choice."
"Fair enough," I replied. At first I saw her as just part of the plan. She was there to help me get what I wanted, nothing more. But as we spent more time together, I began to notice things about her. She was different. She wasn't like the people I usually met in my father's world. She didn't care about money or power. She laughed at small things, like a silly joke or a funny cloud in the sky. She talked about her dreams and the simple things that made her happy. One day, I found her playing with a stray cat in the garden. She was laughing softly, her eyes shining in the sunlight. For the first time, I realized how beautiful she was, not just on the outside but inside too. She started asking me questions about my life. Questions no one had ever asked before.
"What makes you happy?"
She asked one evening. I didn't know how to answer. No one had ever cared about my happiness. My life had always been about pleasing my father and proving myself. "I don't know," I admitted. She looked at me sadly.
"That's not a good way to live."
She said. Her words stayed with me. I started to think about my life differently. I began to realize how empty it was, how much I had missed out on. Then came the night my father called me into his office.
Son,
He said,
if you want everything I've promised, my business, my money, my property, you need to let her go.
"What?" I asked, stunned.
It was a test.
He said coldly.
I needed to know if you could be ruthless. You need to prove you're strong enough to make sacrifices, even love.
I was furious. "You can keep your business," I said. "I don't want it." I ran back to her. She was packing her things, ready to leave. "Wait," I said. She turned to me, her eyes filled with tears.
"I don't belong here."
She said. "Yes, you do," I replied. "I don't care about the money or the business. I just want to be with you." She stared at me, surprised.
"Are you sure?"
She asked. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," I said. We left together that night. I gave up everything, my father's approval, his money, his empire. But I didn't care. For the first time in my life, I felt free. We moved to my old house, a simple place in a quiet neighborhood. It wasn't as big or fancy as my father's mansion, but it felt like home. With her, I learned to laugh again. I learned to dream. I learned what it meant to love and be loved. Sometimes, we get so caught up in chasing success and money that we forget what really matters. She reminded me that life's greatest treasure is love. And now, every day, I thank the universe for the day I met her. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it.